President Trump says rewriting the tax code will fuel America's economic comeback. During a speech today in Indiana, the president broke down the Republican tax reform plan, which he says will help middle-class families save money and eliminate loopholes that benefit the wealthy. He said Americans will now be able to file their taxes on a single sheet of paper, making it simple, fair, and easy. The president also doubled down on his promise to protect small businesses to create more higher-paying jobs.
Today, our total business tax rate is 60% higher than our average foreign competitor in the developed world. That's not good. We have surrendered our competitive edge to other countries, but we're not surrendering anymore. We're not surrendering anymore. Under our framework, we will dramatically cut the business tax rate so that American companies and American workers can beat our foreign competitors and start winning again.
Now, this plan also cuts taxes for the middle class, as individuals will not have to pay taxes on their first $12,000 of income, and a married couple would not have to pay on their first $24,000 of income. One America's Ryan Hoefle breaks down the numbers.
After weeks of speculation, we are finally getting some details on the president's tax reform plan. This was President Trump at his most comfortable, with the former businessman touching on the state of the U.S. economy during his much-anticipated speech in Indiana. The president had a lot to say, so let's break down the important points as the big picture of Trumponomics comes into focus. In short, put more money back into the pockets of the American people. First thing on the agenda, cut taxes across the board.
These tax cuts are significant. There's never been tax cuts like what we're talking about.
All right, taking a closer look at the numbers, though, we see corporate tax rates cut from 35% to 20%, as well as personal tax rates simplified to 3 tax brackets, the highest at 35%, a middle-class tax bracket at 25%, and the lowest bracket at just 12%. And also for families, the first $24,000 will be completely tax exempt, a nice break for them. And President Trump has dubbed his economic plan the American First model, which we've seen flashes of early in his presidency when he personally reached out to companies to bring jobs back to the U.S. And the president wants to continue that trend big league by giving companies one last chance to bring offshore money back here to the U.S.
Our framework will stop punishing companies for keeping their headquarters in the United States. We're punishing companies under our codes for being in the United States. We will impose a one-time low tax on returning money that is already offshore so that it can be brought back home to America where it belongs and where it can be put to work and work and work.
Cabinet Secretary's flight.
While a lot of the president's plan uses broad strokes to make changes to the nation's tax code, it also targets specific taxes that hurt the American people. A perfect example of this is President Trump's decision to do away with the federal estate tax altogether. That's better known as the death tax, so that middle-class families are able to keep building on their own economic legacy rather than give a large portion of that to the government. So, with what we learned today, we see the president doubling down on his economic philosophy of putting more money and power into the hands of the American people so that they can invest that money back into the American dream. The president ended his speech with a call to action to the American people to call their congressmen and demand that they pass this tax reform plan and start healing what he called a self-inflicted economic wound. Here in studio for One American News, I'm Ryan Hoefle.